Howdy folks, I'm Bubbly Boogie Boards, boldly bouncing beyond breaking blue waves.
I'm Amber.
And here are more breaking blue waves for us to, I guess, bounce beyond. So let's get started on doing exactly that. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after she wanted me to prove I didn't have anything with her fiance? I'm a 26-year-old female and I've always been close with my sister, a 29-year-old female. She's getting married in about a month to her fiance, who she's been with for 4 years now. But before they met, I worked at the same company as him for almost 2 years, and we were friendly coworkers. We normally grabbed lunch together with other colleagues and occasionally texted about work. Nothing romantic ever happened between us. Fast forward a year, and he and my sister met through mutual friends. When she found out that we already knew each other, she laughed it off and even joked that I should tell her if they had any embarrassing stories from work. Well, everything was fine until a few weeks ago when she called me crying, saying that she had found old messages between him and me from years ago. One message where he told me I missed you today, and me also telling him I wish you came to work today. The reason for the messages were due to the fact that we usually help each other with tasks at work, and we cover for each other. Besides that, we only talk about work, shared memes, work gossip, and one other conversation where he thanked me for helping him prepare for a presentation, which is something that we usually do. She asked me if I had ever had feelings for him, and I said no, because I genuinely didn't and never saw him that way. Well, then she asked if I would be willing to let her read through my old phone backups and social media messages to see the context for those messages for her peace of mind. I laughed because I thought that she was joking, or better still, let her go through his phone and not mine, and I started getting annoyed when she kept insisting that I allow her to go through my phone. She said if I had nothing to hide, then I shouldn't have a problem providing it, and her friend suggested the same thing, and that if we did this one thing, it would help avoid future drama before the wedding. I refuse immediately, not because there is anything to find, but because I think that it's a ridiculous invasion of privacy. Apparently that made me look guilty in a way, but I just wanted her to go through his phone instead and not mine. Still, she asks why I won't clear my name and give it a rest. This even made me mad enough because she's focusing on the wrong person, and what name do I need to clear? She told my mom about the whole thing, and her response was that I'm being too prideful over a little issue. The final straw came when my sister said that she didn't feel comfortable having me at the wedding unless I handed my phone over. So we sorted out for once and for all. But why can't she ask her fiance? Her response was, well, I don't want him to think that I don't trust him. So I told her that I wouldn't be attending at all, and that she could have the wedding that she wanted without me there. Let her go through his phone and not mine. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. This is a gross invasion of privacy. Her issue is with her partner. And I know she's like, oh, I don't want there to be drama. You don't trust him. He needs to know you don't trust him. He deserves that clarity before the wedding. Honestly, if I were OP, I would just send him a quick message and be like, by the way, my sister is trying to go through my phone to find her old messages. That would add more fire to fire. So like, depending on how much fire OP wants to put on this, like if OP just wants to take a step back, I totally get that. What the sister here is doing here is completely inappropriate.
Well, not to mention, it seems like she had to scroll far enough back that she's now like, that this wasn't something that was obvious. And plus, like, I could understand it if OP and him had a running current conversation that was scandalous or something like that she had stumbled upon. But the fact of the matter is that she's trying to make OP go through their whole history before they were even together, right? So that's kind of absurd, because even if they had a relationship before the current relationship, why does that matter, right? And so I think the sister is just being incredibly entitled here. And this whole idea that OP has nothing to hide, then they should show their phone, that's not how it works, right?
It's not. And like, sister, why doesn't she just give everyone her phone if it's no big deal,
I mean, that's the kind of reasoning that somebody uses when they're trying to guilt you into doing something, right? Like, the government doesn't have a right to go through your stuff, And I know some people are like, well, if you have nothing to hide, then you can just show it to them. No, that's not how it works. We have a right to privacy for a reason, right? There's a reason why judges have to issue warrants for people for searches and stuff like that, right? It's if the police had free reign to go through everyone's home all the time, then they could just walk into people's houses at any point in time and just search it on a whim, right? And likewise, like, we deserve privacy and OP deserves privacy, and not to have their sister just come in anytime they want and look over the phone anytime they're starting to feel insecure about the relationship, right?
Yeah.
So I think that OP is right to stand their ground, because it's not going to be just this one time. It's going to be many, many times, and this is just the first of many times that the sister is going to trot all over her privacy.
Yeah, well, and even if it was just once, like, she does not owe her sister this. She has the right to her own privacy. And again, I really feel like the partner in question deserves to know that the sister does not trust him.
Oh, yeah. And, like, the irony here is, like, well, I don't want him to know that I don't trust him. Well, you don't trust him, but you don't care if you know that you don't trust OP or something like that, right? Like, it just kind of shows her priorities. She's not trying to rock the boat, but she isn't willing to actually put the actual work into the relationship that she needs to ensure that they've built the proper trust. But maybe there is something more going on here too. Maybe he has a history of cheating or something like that OP doesn't know about. And if that is the case, then maybe OP should sit down with the sister and try to uncover why this is so important to the sister for them to go through their phone. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for calling my brother's fiance a dumb person after she brought the wrong things? I'm a 37-year-old male and I live in a small town in Ontario, Canada. Bourbon has gotten harder to find here lately. A lot of stores do not stock it anymore, so I usually have to drive a fair bit to get it. I drink it regularly, and it has become an annoyance. My brother's fiancée, a 29-year-old female, is French and lives in France, but she was visiting Canada recently. Before her trip, she asked if I wanted anything from back home. I said yes, some bourbon please. Well, when she arrived, she gave me a gift bag. Instead of bourbon whiskey, it had bourbon vanilla, a bottle of vanilla-flavored spirits. She looked really excited and said the vanilla was premium quality from a French colony called Bourbon, and that it was famous for its vanilla. I had honestly never heard of that before, but it sounded wrong to me. I was already annoyed and asked where the bourbon was, as I thought this was some kind of joke. She said that was what I asked for. I told her I meant bourbon whiskey, the drink, not vanilla. She insisted that in bourbon, it is strongly associated with vanilla, and that she thought that I would appreciate something authentic and high quality. She also pointed out that she also brought bourbon vanilla spirits, thinking that I could use them in cocktails, which was nice, but not what I asked for. I got frustrated and said that I asked for something to drink, not baking ingredients, and called her dumb for misunderstanding it so badly. Even logically, I'm a single dude and quite obviously not the baking type. I tried to explain it by saying it's like if somebody asked for scotch and you brought them tape because they share a name. Context matters, and I clearly meant the drink, not something unrelated that happens to use the same word. She got upset and said that I was insulting her after she tried to do something nice. Now my brother is demanding I apologize. From my perspective, this is ridiculous. If someone asks you for bourbon, you do not just bring vanilla products just because the word overlaps. I feel like the context was obvious. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Oh my goodness, yes, OP, you are a major jerk here. She was trying to do you a favor, and I understand it's not what you were asking for, but it sounds like that there is a cultural difference here in what the meaning of bourbon is. You can't assume that your understanding of a word is every single person on the planet's understanding. And instead of just brushing it off as a miscommunication, you doubled down and insulted her intelligence because she didn't know exactly what you were asking for.
I mean, who knew that words could have different meanings in different regions?
Imagine that.
Imagine that. I think that OP owes her a huge apology. Like, OP asked her for something from home. Yeah, so I mean, bourbon as defined by law, I'm just going to read this page here real quick. What makes bourbon bourbon? Bourbon is a uniquely American whiskey that is federally defined and regulated. Bourbon is a type of whiskey distilled from primarily corn with strict requirements on how and where it gets distilled, aged, and bottled. Louisville-based attorney Brian Hara explains the federal regulations that define bourbon and what must and must not be added to whiskey bourbon to make it bourbon. So basically, OP is insulting her because she didn't know what an American product was, and she's from France. And so, I mean, this is kind of absurd, right? Bourbon is an American whiskey, and I think that he needs to understand that she was doing him a favor, and this was really rude for him to snap at her like this. And I don't know. I just think that OP owes her a huge apology. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. You're the jerk, and even karma's taking notes. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, My Stepkid's Mom Insists That They Pay Their Own Medical Bills to quote-unquote learn responsibility. Y'all, what in the world is going on? I'm a 40-year-old female, and my stepdaughter, Ebony, is 21, and has been dealing with some gnarly stomach bug the last few days. Yesterday, it got bad enough that we took her to the ER, because she couldn't even keep down water, and she was getting severely dehydrated. They ran some tests and didn't find anything, so the diagnosis was a bad stomach virus. They got her IV fluids and that sweet, sweet hospital-grade anti-nausea medication, which got her feeling better, and then sent us home with prescriptions for more meds. Because this is America, our copay was $300. My husband sent Ebony's mom a text letting her know how Ebony was doing and asked her for $150 to cover half the bill. Side note, Ebony lives with us full time, her choice, and her mom doesn't help pay for her tuition, her car, or almost any of her upkeep, but she has genuinely chipped in for medical costs. This time, she decided that she can't contribute because Ebony needs to learn a lesson about responsibility by paying for her own expenses. This is ridiculous for multiple reasons. First, Ebony is anything but irresponsible. She is going to community college, works part-time, mows the lawn on her own initiative, picks up her younger siblings from school, and genuinely holds up her end of the housework better than most adult roommates that I've had. She pays for gas, recreation, clothing, and textbooks on her own, as well as half of the car note. This is not the kid who needs a tough life lesson about frivolous spending. Second, what in the world do you mean that she needs to pay for her own expenses? We're her parents. She had to go to the hospital. She's a full-time student with a retail job, and frankly, and it's only because we live in a late-stage capitalist society that she is being charged hundreds of dollars to be treated for dehydration anyways. It's obviously a self-serving justification on Ebony's mom's part, so she doesn't have to pay for anything. But it still makes me mad. If you don't have the money, just say so. Don't come up with some weird, pick yourself up by the bootstraps nonsense. We're not spoiling Ebony by ensuring that she receives needed medical care. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. Teach her responsibility for what? Like, so she doesn't get sick again? Stomach bugs happen. Life happens. Unfortunately, we have a really expensive healthcare system here. I don't know many 18-year-olds who could foot the bill for this kind of expense. Like, I honestly feel like it's criminal to be charging people this much money, period. But especially, young adults who don't often have, the means for this sort of thing.
I think that eventually Ebony will have to go off on her own and pay her own medical expenses, and that's just unfortunately life. And if the parents are willing to help, they can. I do agree with OP here, where if the mom was like, hey, I can't afford it right now, that's fine, right? Like, it's expensive. $150 isn't something that everyone has laying around. And I'm glad that OP is willing to help their daughter. Now, I do agree with Amber here, like this is something that can be very difficult for people who are going through, college or, young adults that don't have, a lot of resources. And that's just unfortunately the way our society functions right now. And I feel bad for, OP. But again, like, I do think, like, that the mom can choose or not to choose to help contribute to the care. But I also don't feel like she should be, saying that, oh, we need to teach Ebony a lesson in how to be, more responsible. Because again, like, a stomach bug isn't a matter of irresponsibility. It's a matter of sometimes people get sick. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
How do you throw a party in space?
I would imagine you use a space bar.
You plan it.
Oh, I see. I see. That would make a lot of sense. And I have a special guest tea, some matcha. And folks, today is a very special day. It's Bourbon Vanilla Day. So if you want to go bake some cookies with some fancy vanilla, go right ahead and do that. I'm sure the OP in that second story won't appreciate it. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Spectacular Saturday, folks. I hope your Saturday is off to a spectacular start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on giving gifts, thoughtful gifts.
When it comes to gifts, thought should matter more than the price tag.
Agreed, agreed. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.